Thanks, Dan. For this project, we've developed an action plan with concrete goals in order to achieve our desired results. I'm on location here in Belhaven to give you an idea of what we'll be working with. This area has experienced a large amount of pollution, and we're looking to turn that around. Within the first year, we'll be securing permissions from the council in order to build the seagrass meadow in the proposed area. After securing funding, we'll be gathering hessian bags that are biodegradable, ropes, and the proper weights in order to make sure we have all the materials necessary to make this a successful project. We're also launching an extensive community outreach plan so that community partners in the area will join us in planting this meadow. Several community groups here are heavily invested in the marine area and marine protection. We'll also be reaching out to local schools, as other projects have done, to use this as an educational opportunity to teach people about their local biomes and habitats. Getting the kids involved will also teach another generation about the importance of protecting these delicate habitats. For the next 10 years, we will be monitoring the project with a combined mixture of community volunteers and drones. Monitoring the seagrass growth is important to ensure that it keeps the pace, especially after large-scale storms. After the next 10 years, we'll be monitoring it less frequently in order to make sure that it's still expanding the way we want it to be expanding. Our primary goal is achieving overarching seagrass enhancement. Seagrass offers many positive qualities to the habitats in which it's planted, not the least of which is the ability to host a wide and diverse array of other wildlife. It is estimated that areas of the seafloor where vegetation is present can host up to 40% more wildlife than areas without vegetation. At a time when biodiversity is being threatened in many habitats globally, this is an important factor to consider. We strive to plant a strong, resilient seagrass meadow which will continue its restorative nature and better the water quality and biodiversity for as long as possible. Proper care, maintenance, and monitoring are important for any seagrass meadow, and community involvement with the planting and the monitoring will be super helpful in the long run. Belhaven has a history with pollution, and seagrass is very particular in the area in which it grows. Some areas of Belhaven experience rougher surf too. So we've picked a more calm area in which to plant our seagrass, which will likely not experience as many rough waves. The first smaller objective of this plan is a successful expansion of seagrass meadows. Using the hessian bag method, we will plant seeds that are locally sourced from other seagrass meadows. The seeds will be placed among sand and biodegradable hessian bags and properly weighted down to the seafloor in order to increase their resistance to storms and rough weather, which can be disruptive of meadow growth. Benefits of this method include its storm resilience when properly tethered and a high success rate at 94% of the samples seeding in some studies. Predation is also deterred in the early growth stages through this method thanks to the protective barrier that the bag offers. Other seagrass planting methods are not as successful, with transplant methods having a lower success rate and bag studies using non-biodegradable bags causing entanglement with bag fibers and unnecessary pollution. Biodegradable bags, as the name implies, will break down much more easily and completely over time, which will allow the seagrass to grow as it must, both upward and in its quest to root. Our second objective is encouraging education through and of the project. As mentioned previously, a large community outreach effort will help us to educate the community on the biomes and habitats that are close to them, which will also encourage further conservation efforts down the line. Reduction of human activity is also crucial for keeping the seagrass meadow intact, especially in the early stages. The area will be marked off with buoys, and enforcement will be left up to local authorities. Human activities such as swimming, fishing, boating, and other recreational water activities should be banned in the area. Long-term monitoring is the last of our sub-objectives. Drones will be used for some of the monitoring process to prevent boats and other disruptions from having to enter the restricted area. Over the years, an improvement in the water quality is anticipated due to the oxygen-releasing properties of seagrass. Its ability to remove harmful chemicals from the water and provide more oxygen makes it an excellent addition to the habitat for all species. Increased wildlife diversity and slowing of shore erosion are two other positive effects that can be expected from the growth of the meadow. Enforcement of the measures preventing human activity in the area will be carried out by local and regional bodies due to a lack of international legislative action on seagrass and seagrass meadows. Unhealthy fishing practices such as cyanide fishing and dynamite fishing are restricted by the Scottish Government, and these protections will also carry over into the meadow territory. Fertilizer use in nearby homes and businesses should be limited, as runoff from properties using these chemicals can be harmful to restoration efforts. Chemical imbalances can upset and stunt the growth of seagrass, among other wildlife. The Beal Waters, being right next to a major golf course, is particularly susceptible to these dangers, so special caution is advised. Similar successful projects in the UK which have helped us to solidify the model for this undertaking can be found in Pembrokeshire, Argyll, Gwynedd, the Isle of Wight, and the Essex and Suffolk estuaries. These projects combined have managed to plant millions of seagrass seeds around the United Kingdom. With long-term results on projects such as these shown to have successfully reinstated seagrass meadows in areas that had become barren, there is high potential for persisting longevity of the project. Over the years, the seagrass will continue to seed itself and reproduce, which will allow it to spread and eventually cover a greater distance. Seagrass meadows across the world can store up to 83 metric tons of carbon per year, which is crucial in the fight to help our environments and the many species and food chains that rely on seagrass to thrive. Now I'm going to hand it back to Seamus, live at the ECCI.